Joe Biden. Joe Biden's troubles won't go away, and there's a lot of meaning to be had here, both political meaning and in terms of the way the left looks at sexuality. The guy hasn't even announced yet, but he has got a massive lead over everybody else. And yesterday we talked about Lucy Flores, who was complaining about the way Biden has of sneaking up on women and rubbing their shoulders or sniffing their hair and all this. She's a former Democrat politician. Now there's a new story in the Hartford Courant that's in Connecticut. A Connecticut woman says Joe Biden touched her inappropriately and rubbed noses with her during a 2009 political fundraiser in Greenwich when he was vice president. We've gone a long way from Harvey Weinstein. I mean, before we started out with a guy who was actually, I'm almost certain he was actually dragging women into his casting couch. And now we've got people who rub noses. So it's kind of going downhill a little bit. But she says it wasn't sexual, but he did grab me by the head. Amy Lapos, her name is. He put his hand around my neck and pulled me to rub noses with me. When he was pulling me in, I thought he was going to kiss me on the mouth. She says, I never filed a complaint, to be honest, because he was the vice president. I was a nobody. There's absolutely a line of decency. There's a line of respect. Crossing that line is not grandfatherly. It's not cultural. It's not affection. It's sexism or misogyny. So interestingly, Joe is getting a lot of defenders now. Nancy Pelosi spoke up and she said this sort of thing shouldn't be disqualifying. And on The View, of all places, on The View, they're speaking out in his defense.
He came down to do you a favor. He was at your fundraiser. You had every right to say, you know what, that's it. Don't do that, Joe.
But can I say that the media is doing some of this too? Stephanie Carter, who is the wife of Defense Secretary Ash Carter, published a blog Sunday defending Joe Biden over a viral photo.
Yes,
this
because
viral photo.
People keep
she explained
misrepresenting
she was
this.
nervous in this experience, and he kept his hand on my shoulders as a mean of offering his support, and she said to him, "Thank you for letting him do
and don't
that."
forget that
She
they're
had
also
fallen earlier in the day, and it made her feel more
they're
comfortable.
also friends. Let's not forget
Yeah.
that picture. Joe Biden knows them.
Yeah, right.
He was behind her whispering to, so you have to stop characterizing stuff, mischaracterizing it. That's all.
So
I'm
for
saying.
her,
But
it was a
we'll be-
comfortable experience. For the other woman, it
It
wasn't.
was not. But don't sit and wait and say I'm uncomfortable on national television.
Right.
Because it makes us suspect of your
Listen, you
your
and I
thoughts.
honestly.
So this is very interesting and just makes me feel, I mean, as always with the left, we're almost always watching something about power. They'll say it's about sex. They'll say it's about race. They'll say it's about morality, but it's almost always really about power. And Joe Biden's, over in Axios, they're saying Joe Biden's advisors believe the coverage of these allegations of inappropriate behavior is being stoked by rival Democrats, a dynamic that could actually fire up the vice president at a time when others see success as increasingly improbable. Several around Biden think advisors to Bernie Sanders are at least partly behind the anti-Biden campaign. One prominent backer thinks Biden will run and is ready to kill Bernie in his, that's a quote and unquote. That's very interesting. It's two white-haired white guys basically arguing it out, fighting for the lead in the Democrat Party, because both of these guys are polling at the top, and Biden, I think, is polling right now beyond Trump, above Trump. So he's a guy they think might have a chance to win. And obviously, that's the guy they want to take out. Interestingly, the establishment is with him. Even the networks, their coverage, if you listen to their coverage, it's pretty sympathetic. Listen to this.
We're still weeks away from Biden's anticipated entry into the presidential race, and the accusation made over the weekend speaks to a part of his behavior that some find harmless, but that his accuser says deserves more scrutiny.
As the immediate frontrunner, he's going to expect a lot of scrutiny, especially as standards for what used to be acceptable interactions have changed for a lot of women in this Me Too era.
And fighting back. Former Vice President Joe Biden responds to those accusations of inappropriate affection by the woman who says he kissed her head and invaded her space at a campaign event. Now the women coming to his defense.
So that was GMA. They were for Biden when they take that tone, fighting back. He's fighting back. When they sound like that, they're making that's hero noise. They're making you a hero. So they're basically standing behind him and saying, at least at this point, if this is coming from Bernie Sanders, they think Biden has a better chance of winning than Bernie. Over at Hot Air, Jazz Shaw, who's a very good political advisor, a political observer, he makes the point that this has been in the press forever, right? Conservatives have been joking about creepy Joe, creepy Uncle Joe forever. He comes up to women, he rubs their shoulders, he sticks his face in their hair. He's always done it. His hands are always wandering over people. And, it's just been there. And so what Jazz says is, look, if this were a problem, someone on the left would have said it before. Why does it suddenly become a problem? Who is contacting these women? Because these are pretty obscure people. I mean, these are political operatives, but they're not exactly high-level people. And who is calling them up and saying, do us a favor and take this guy down? It's a very good persuasive argument because, as I say, you can make these supercut montages of Joe Biden touching women very easily. It's very easy to put them together. So the fact that they're coming up now is suspect. But here's the thing. Like I said, whenever Democrats start talking about morality, whenever they start talking about sex, whenever they start talking about race, they are really talking about power. They attach a philosophy to the power grab. When Bill Clinton is president and he's got an intern young enough to be his daughter in the Oval Office, basically doing all kinds of things to him, that's not a problem, right? That's not a problem because he was for abortion. As many of the reporters of the time said, as long as he's for abortion, I would go in there and do what his mistress is doing. They didn't care. Suddenly, when it was Trump talking about what women would let him do because he was a celebrity, it became a problem. So the philosophy always follows the power. And if you want to find out about the power and how the power is going to translate into philosophy, there's only one place to go. We're going to go there in just a minute. We're going to take a trip to Knucklehead Row in just a minute. If you want to find out what the left is thinking, there is only one place to go, and that is the op-ed page of the New York Times, or as we call it, Knucklehead Row.
Oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, ho, let's go waltzing down to Knucklehead Row.
Michelle Goldberger, one of the chief knuckleheads on Knucklehead Row, has a column called The Wrong Time for Joe Biden. He's not a sexual predator, she says. He's just out of touch. I don't think Biden's avuncular pawing is a Me Too story, she writes. But if Biden was more oblivious than predatory, his history still puts him out of step with the mores of an increasingly progressive Democratic Party. So she's telling you it's not about the hands. It's about the mind. It's about the philosophy. On Sunday, the New York Times reported that some Democrats are bracing for an extended reckoning about Mr. Biden and gender if he enters the race. The inevitability of such a reckoning should make Biden reconsider getting in. Biden's issues with gender, after all, go far beyond chronic handsiness. His waffling on reproductive choice troubles many feminists. As the Times reported last week, Biden's back and forth over abortion would become a hallmark of his political career. He was the chairman of the hearings on Clarence Thomas's Supreme Court nomination, where Anita Hill, who accused Thomas of sexual harassment, was demeaned and dismissed, which isn't true, by the way. She was not demeaned and dismissed. She was questioned as if she were making an accusation against somebody, and she never got corroborating evidence toward anything she said. And again, I've said this before, but if you go back and look, the things she was charging Clarence Thomas with during his Supreme Court hearings were not even very serious. I mean, they were nothing compared to the kinds of things people are talking about now. So she goes on to say that Biden may seem like a safe choice. I mean, we talk about this on the right, too. You put up a guy like Mitt Romney. He seems like a safe choice, but really he's kind of leaden. He can't get people excited. He can't reach those people who are in between, who are leaning Obama, who voted Obama last time like Trump did, who got those people to come over. So she's saying he's safe, but he's just out of touch with the leftism, the socialism that the Democrat Party now basically supports. He says, in response to Flores, the first woman who accused him, Biden could have told her that he was sorry for making her uneasy. Instead, he focused on his intentions rather than her experience, a faint echo of the way he ignored Hill's experiences decades ago. I want you to follow the logic about this. What's important is the woman's experience of the touch, not what you were actually trying to do or what you actually did. It's her experience. If she says she's uncomfortable, that's the thing that matters, and you should apologize. No one should judge the whole span of Biden's career by the standards of 2019. But if he's going to run for president, it's fair to ask whether he's the right leader for this moment. He is a product of his time, but that time is up. So if that's the problem, first of all, if that's the problem, why are you talking about sex in the first place? Why not just talk about philosophy? Why not just talk about policy? But since they've got the whole Me Too thing ginned up to take down Biden, let's think about what they're saying. What matters here is this woman's experience of being touched, hugged, nuzzled, whatever. I don't like this either. I don't like being hugged. I don't like the fact that people hug me all the time when I see them. I don't. I really don't. Men hug me. Women hug me. I don't like it. They do it all the time. I'm a private person. I like to shake hands, say hello, but I do it constantly. Whenever I go places, people want to take pictures with me. They put their arms around me. I put their arm, I do it, right? I don't talk about my experience. Why not? Why not? Because it's different for a man. It's different for a man. Women's experience of being touched is different than a man's experience of being touched, right? Why? Women's bodies play different roles in our sexual experience. In our sexual exchange, a woman's body has a different role than a man's body. Maybe it's the role of being attracted. Thomas Mann talks about this in the Magic Mountain. He talks about the fact that if you think about it, it's kind of strange that women use parts of their body as part of their clothes. Men don't do that, right? Women, expose arms, cleavage, all kinds of things as part of their clothing. It's part of their decoration because they realize they are attractive to men and men are attracted to women, right? That is the way it works. So what about men then? If women's role is to be attractive, if women have a different role in the sexual mating experience, and part of that role is to attract, and men are being attracted by the law divine, if that's the machinery of the law divine, and if women want men to respect them, as well they should, shouldn't women respect the feelings of men as well? If men have this kind of supercharged feeling of attraction, wouldn't it be nice if women would just be a little bit careful about that, have a little bit respect for that, so that men would have a different experience walking around than they do? It is absolutely fascinating to me that when the left talks about America, when they talk about sexual America, they're not talking about anything that exists. There's a guy, Seth Moulton, who is a Massachusetts congressman, and he's just had a baby girl, and he's considering whether he should run for president, because how can you be a Democrat without running for president? So he's talking about whether he's going to run for president. He's talking about his baby girl, and this is what he says.
I love this girl more than I could ever imagine. I mean, I've just met her. She's only 5.5 months old, and I'm completely in love with her, and it's hard to leave her every time I go to Washington for a few days. But I also feel even more invested in her future than maybe I did ever before in this job, because I don't want her growing up in this country. And
what do you mean you don't want her growing up in this country?
I don't want her growing up in this country the way that it is, with a commander-in-chief that we fundamentally can't trust. Where women are disrespected, where she doesn't have the same opportunities that a little boy growing up at the same time would have. We have a lot of things to fix in this country, and if I can be a small part of doing that, then that's a compelling reason to run. But ultimately, Liz and I are going to talk about this. We're going to decide in the next few weeks.
That's an amazing statement. First of all, it ended his political run right there. The guy will never be president. He'll never be a candidate. He'll never even make the debate stage, just for saying that. What is he talking about? I mean, this is a country, seriously, really, this is a country where women are doing better than men in school. Women are, happier than they are in most other places. And he thinks his daughter, I mean, why was he not upset when Bill Clinton was president? Bill Clinton, who had actually been accused of rape. Why is he so selectively upset? Because they're never talking about sex. They're never talking about race. They're always talking about power. So he's presenting an America of the imagination. Didn't mind Clinton. It was his daughter would have been perfectly safe there. Doesn't care that what's happening to women. And if you want to see Democrats removing the morality from things, this is happening across the board. The top Democrat candidates are going this week to a summit called We the People Summit in Washington, right? The event begins on Monday. Yesterday, Jamal Watkins of the NAACP stands up and leads the crowd in this chant. Watch this.
I came here not to talk at you. We're going to be here all day. It's going to be a long and powerful day. But I want you to do something with me. I'm going to actually have you participate with me in repeating some words from a leader by the name of Assata Shakur. So if you can stand up with me, if you can't stand, it's okay. But I want you to repeat after me. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and respect each other.
We must love each other and respect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Now we're going to take it as loud as we can get. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and respect each other.
That's your Democrat Party. That's he's quoting. First of all, of course, you have nothing to lose but your chains is Karl Marx. So that's where they're at with that. But the chant itself was written by Assata Shakur, as he said, and he called her a leader. Assata Shakur was a member of the Black Liberation Army, a national. It was a breakoff from the Black Panthers, actually. It was an urban guerrilla group that was trying to basically bring down the government by bank robberies, killing police officers and drug dealers. She got into a gunfight that ended up with one state trooper, a couple of her fellows dead, but also a state trooper shot to death, and she was convicted of first-degree murder. She was sent to prison for first-degree murder. She escaped and is living in Cuba. That is what the Democrat Party is chanting. They have removed, I mean, they really have lost their way. They have removed themselves from the moral universe, and it is telling in their the way they address sex, and it's now telling in the way they address politics and economics.